Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with the colleagues here.
Dave.
Nate.
And today we've got a little conversation about Star Wars.
Yeah, we're going to start a new series, and we're calling it Not D&D. So I know it's been out for a while, and we've heard about the Force Awakens for a while now. Episode 7 of Star Wars, and right before this video, we went and rewatched the trailer again. Yeah, I've already seen it a couple times. That one and the first one.
Ditto.
And what do you guys think? Are you excited? Are you nervous?
Well, before I go too far into depth, are we limiting it to just Force Awakens, or are we talking Star Wars?
Well, we're going to kind of talk about the Force Awakens, but we can throw other stuff
How
in
about
there.
Star Wars as it pertains to the Episode 7?
All right. That's perfect for what I was going to talk about.
You're going to tell us how upset you were that Jar Jar Binks was not in the trailer at all.
No.
Oh, all right.
And then we were going to go.
Yeah.
Be like, and then there was 2.
Now, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've kind of been a fanatic of Star Wars for as long as I can remember.
You just got all those RPG books for it, too.
I've got the RPG books for it. I've played the old D6 version of Star Wars RPG. I've watched all the movies.
Wait, Nate, let's find out if he's a real fan. Have you done Star Wars LARP yet?
I have not done a Star Wars LARP. I haven't even gone.
And then there was 2, Dave. We're just going to cut him out.
Flip his chair back.
But I've read tons of Star Wars novels. Really love what was referred to as the expanded universe, which is now put into the paper shredder. So
right into the Sarlacc pit that went.
So with the actual trailer, I loved the scene of seeing the Star Destroyer on the planet crashed. I thought that was a really classy shot. A lot of
the voiceover, the Mark Hamill doing the voiceover, is pretty badass too, and the freaking the Darth Vader helmet. Yeah,
the Darth Vader helmet that's clearly been burned. It looks almost like some kind of demented alien, where what was just the slits in his mask actually kind of look like crumpled teeth. So I kind of thought that imagery was really awesome as well. But I'm excited to see where things are.
Are you guys angry about the Black Stormtrooper?
Yeah, that doesn't faze me.
It's more like pearlescent gloss or something.
Yeah, I know it's kind of old now, but like the nerd rage over, oh my god, a Black Stormtrooper! All the redneck Star Wars fans came out of the woodworks to freaking rant and rave.
I think Nate was actually thinking you were talking about the alternate style, not the actual.
No. There was an actor that's black.
Yeah, I thought you meant the costume.
Yeah,
which kind of looks Stormtrooper like. But it's
the,
all kind of like, I don't know. It's like black mystic something color. It's a weird color. It's not like the plastic white of the original Stormtroopers.
The only thing I would say, to actually talk about racial situations, in a futuristic situation, is number one, we're talking about in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. With aliens, you can't really compare it, to what we are. In other, scientific universes.
You're taking this part of it way too serious. I'm just making fun of the redneck racists out there. So yeah, I'm totally cool with Black Stormtroopers. God damn it! Why aren't there any Asians?
It's totally just a Dave one-liner.
Okay. Well, sorry, I'm
shake your head and move on.
I'm analytical. I'm sorry. I was gonna go into a whole dissertation.
But Stormtroopers, that Chrome Trooper.
That Chrome Trooper does look pretty cool. What is your take on, as Nate calls it, the light claymore? Were you calling it?
Yeah, I feel like it looks like a claymore, like it looks longer than a long sword.
I think I would totally cut my own hands off with that.
Well, I saw a video of some guy. I'll try and find it for you. But he actually takes a sword similar to that, made out of PVC, paints the sides to show you that you can't hit yourself. When you actually know how to use a sword, you don't hit yourself with the stuff. So
nice.
I was like, wow, that's really in depth and a real life application.
I saw a meme that was pretty funny, and it showed like all the people with their hands cut off, and all this, and the lightsabers that have been cut in half, and they're just like, and all of a sudden, this doesn't seem like such a bad idea. And I guess in the Star Wars universe there is the one metal that the lightsaber can't cut, and so I guess the other argument is that the cross section would actually be made from that, so that the other lightsaber doesn't just ride down the blade and cut through the metal, where the crossbar isn't at.
Right. Well, I mean, there's you enter into an argument of science fiction technology,
quantum physics, and some other made-up sciences.
Well, no, just science fiction technology versus real world applicable knowledge. We've talked numerous times about our actual sword work knowledge.
Yeah.
And I don't know how in the in the Star Wars science universe what happens when two beams of lightsaber energy hit. It goes.
Come on, man. Yeah.
In a real world, sword fight, when two swords hit, they don't just sit there and lock. They're gonna slide. They're gonna move. They're gonna bounce.
Yeah.
And that's logistically how, or that's scientifically how the swords react to what's happening. You don't get that two things locking in a situation unless you're slid down to lock cross guards as well.
Or the force has to be equal on both sides as well as the angles in order to maintain the exact spacing. Right. It can happen. It's just a matter of the proper physics. And if a lightsaber, the weird thing too about a lightsaber is I would guess it doesn't actually have any weight since it's energy.
Correct.
But then at the same time, it goes through things don't go through it, which is kind of weird too, because generally things will pass through energy.
Right.
They may not maintain their same state once they reach the other side, but so in that sense, the lightsabers are like this solid energy type thing. But
I have a really good theory. It does what's required for the movies and the writing.
There you go. Nate put it perfectly.
There you go. Level 12 intellect at work.
Yeah, so all the science and calculations and how these fields would interact. It does what they needed to do for the freaking movie to look cool. That's exactly what it does.
I feel like I'm on the verge of being force pushed out of the shop by Nate. Yeah. Don't force trick me, Nate. Or force me.
I'm not that into, I watch sci-fi. I'm not that really into trying to apply any knowledge of physics or anything to it. If it looks good and it sounds good.
You don't worry about it.
Yeah, 10% is what
now,
actually.
I was thinking the opposite of Nate. I don't know about you. I figured he's very analytical. And
you thought I was going to go all
yeah.
I mean, that's
warp bubble.
I thought you were going to take a scalpel to it.
No. That's kind of how I would expect Nate to look at it. It's like, all right, let's diagnose this. Let's dissect it.
I look at sci-fi science as 10% is what you actually say. So the other 90% is how good it looks and how good you look saying it.
That's a good way to look at it.
So the trailer, the overall feel. What was the feel that you guys got from watching this?
It feels classic.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I don't judge everything and say, okay, let's look at all the details. I look at the bigger picture. As a Star Wars fan, I'm excited that they're doing it. They've got the cast.
So here's the thing, right? Getting all those other guys, not a big deal. But they got Harrison Ford. He's a real actor, and he's not. Well, I mean, it's not that the other ones aren't real actors, but he's a big name actor who has serious chops. And I don't think he's going to want to lend his I don't think they could just throw enough money at him to get him to do this movie. Right. I think he would have to look at the script and go, "Yeah, this is the Han Solo I want to play."
Right.
Or otherwise, he'd be like, "I don't have to do Han Solo anymore."
Right.
So that is a key factor, I think. Unless they had some other kind of leverage they could use on him, you'll never work again. We're Disney. The mouse is sitting there berating him in a squeaky voice. You want to do this movie. I think that in itself is very promising. Disney has the budget.
Absolutely.
To pull off whatever they want to do. And traditionally, Disney does good movies.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, I'm sure they have analysts and researchers going, okay, what did people like about the first three movies, and what did they hate about the prequels, and how can we make this movie more like the one everyone loved?
Yeah.
So
I think they definitely have the ability to look back and say, all right, let's make this the best we can. Let's revitalize all the naysayers from those who didn't like the prequels, and let's get everybody back in, and let's make them love it again. And the people who have been on board, like myself, we'll keep coming. Just it's like, you put the Star Wars brand on it. All right, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah. So, but we still haven't seen we haven't seen from any of the trailers the character that's been crammed in there for the younger audience, like they did with the prequels.
That's there's a little bit of that
the roller droid.
The roller droid. That's the only thing I don't like so far. I think it looks ridiculous.
I haven't seen the roller droid. I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, you just saw it. It's the ball, and it's got like an R2 head on it.
Yeah,
and it kind of rolls around.
I must have ignored it.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I don't know. What don't you like about that?
I think it's just silly.
Silly things don't belong in the Star Wars universe.
I think you can have silly. I mean, there's people who say like the Ewoks are silly. How are these little fuzzy bears defeating stormtroopers?
Falling log traps.
Clearly.
I like the Ewoks. I got no problem with them. I got no problems with the Jawas. There's nothing nothing about this roller R2 unit or whatever you want to call it that I like. It just
Although we haven't seen anything with it other than the way it looks and the way it moves.
Like got a second worth of it, 2 seconds worth of it?
Yeah, it's hardly in there. So I don't know.
I would say for classic, you mentioned after I said classic and TED Talk, you mentioned the cast. I actually don't care that any of the original people are in it. It's more of the feel of the actual of the look of it from the scenes, as well as that kind of. I feel like it has that reduced resource feel. Like in the 4 through 6, you had that kind of the rebels were using what they had, rather than the unlimited source of the center of the empire,
right?
Which is what you had for the first 3 movies. It was kind of like, all right, we're here in the city of cities, so all right, we need to fly this place. Well, let's do it in this shiny, chromed up thing. Like it just. They had anything they wanted to have because they were like several high level Jedis,
right?
And senators and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like it was like the powerful elite running around doing quests.
Yeah, one
as exciting.
One of the main characters, Princess Amidala, was the ruler of a planet.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
So they have more going on.
The Chrome Mercedes ship.
Yeah, my point wasn't actually that it's the original characters being played by the original cast. My point was that you have a certain level of actor that I don't think would touch this movie if it was bad. Yeah, so I think Harrison Ford just lends credibility to the whole thing
by being in it.
Yeah, by going, oh well, this is worth me being in it.
Right.
What's the last bad movie he was in that you can name?
Crystal Skull.
So,
some people don't really they think that one destroyed the franchise because it talked about aliens.
Right. So that being said, right, like he's had a huge career. That's one movie that you're like able to name.
If you can only name like 1 or 2 movies out of the entire actor's career, that's pretty good.
They always say that everyone has done one bad movie. I enjoyed it, but that's one that is said.
I have a confession.
What's that?
I didn't even watch it. I didn't even see that one. I think I stopped at 3. What are they up to 5?
It's 4.
Is it 4?
It ended at Crystal Skull.
Maybe I only watched 2.
Oh, you gotta watch the 3rd one.
I don't think I did. I saw bits and pieces. I never watched it all the way through.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. Yeah, I was there.
Okay. And the Last Crusade.
Not so much.
Wasn't the other one the Ark?
That's got
the Raiders of the Lost Ark was the first.
Yeah,
was the first.
Last Crusade's got Sean Connery in it.
I know.
Sean Connery and Harrison Ford.
I mean the last one that I was going to mention, not the last one of the series of them.
All right. Anyway, so he lends credence to it. He definitely gives it that feel. When you're sitting there looking at Han and Chewie, you've got Chewie's
feelings.
Well, you've got Chewie's sound effects, which are awesome. And when you're looking at the set, I mean, you're only getting a couple seconds of looking at them. I don't know whether they're just in a hallway on the Falcon or all in the cockpit, but just the visuals it looks like they've just stepped right out of
nostalgia, total nostalgia right there. Yeah,
and Nate said, "Oh, it's not all shiny and chrome and beautiful." You have even though it's probably been a while since there's got to be a time lapse because the actors have all aged, so the characters have had to have aged.
Well, not only that too. I think that I'm under the impression like the main character is going to be Luke Skywalker's daughter too. Mm-hmm. So she's got to be old enough for her to be the main character and not be a child. So
right.
There's that.
I'm excited to see what they're going to put in as filler. Technically, there's always a novel in between every movie, or at least that's what there's been in the past. There's plenty of books that have come out, outside of what's there on the.
So
movies.
are you talking about like non-movie stuff, like books, comic books, that kind of
What's
stuff?
What's happened in between the 6th movie?
Honestly, I think it's a mistake to even talk about it in the movie. I feel like a lot of movies fall into that trap and they worry so much about that.
Like info dump?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times if they just ignore it, so will everyone else.
Well, I mean, they in the Star Wars movies, they tend to not discuss what's happened. In Return of the Jedi, like they do mention, many Bothans died to bring us this information. Well, there's a book, Shadows of the Empire, where you actually get to see how many Bothans died.
Each individual one.
And if that's all it is, every page you just turn and another one dies.
If I remember correctly, it was actually only 6. So I found that part, even funnier. But it was a situation where
Bothan does. That's just messed up.
But like there's stuff that happens in between each one that you get a little bit of information that isn't really discussed. That's not really played up or played down in the actual movies. It's just it's out there.
So what you're saying? There's about there might be 20 years worth of info that we should be kind of getting bits and pieces of over the time.
If you look at Harrison Ford now versus Harrison Ford when they filmed episode 6, you've got a large time gap. He was a young man as Han Solo. He's now an old man as Han Solo. In the expanded universe, there's a trio of kids that he and Leia have birthed.
Are they there?
The expanded universe, like I said earlier, they've trashed it.
I hope it wasn't Lannister style.
So I don't know what they're doing with that. So I'm excited to know. Okay, well, I've got to look past this and see what they're going to do now. Luke Skywalker in the books, he marries Mara Jade, but there wasn't a child that was in any book that I read. Well, now if Luke's having a daughter, it's like, okay, well, who's this woman? Who's the information? So like my brain is cringing. Like, all right, what's the story? What's the information? What can I get my hands on? What's out there? And I'm excited. I want to know more. Gimme.
Well, come Christmas, you'll be able to find out.
6 months.
6 months. It's not that far away. There's a daily countdown somewhere. You can follow it if you want.
Yeah, it's not that important.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I want to see another Star Wars movie. I want to go in the theater. I want to be able to take my kids and watch it in the theater with them.
Yeah,
that part's kind of cool.
Same here. The little girl's not quite ready for movie theater, but Teddy just got to go check out Age of Ultron. He enjoyed that. So I think by the time December hits, we'll get him fully engrossed in Star Wars.
Haven't watched the first 6.
Absolutely, in proper
all in
order.
one sitting.
Have to watch it
Clockwork Orange style.
I would say it would actually be better to watch it not in the proper order, right? So this way they can be kind of disappointed and be like, oh wow, this is really cool afterwards, instead of going, oh wow, this is awesome, and then the letdown.
So are you saying he should watch 1 through 6 or 4?
1 through 6?
Okay.
Although, your son's young enough where he probably will love Jar Jar Binks, and then you just want to put a pillow over his face while he's sleeping and be like, "You're not my son."
So the proper order is 1 through 6 for you? I think the proper order means different things to different people.
Well, he's saying we should watch it out of the proper order. Proper order is 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. For a new viewer, right? Someone that's never experienced Star Wars and they're old enough to realize that Jar Jar Binks is
Is what he is.
Is what he is. Yeah, I want to say disparaging things, but it's not very PC, so I won't. Yeah. So you need someone who's old enough to be like get over the glitz of Jar Jar Binks being silly and realizing that it's just totally stupid, and then make them watch 1, 2, 3. And they can see it for what it is, and like they'll be like, this is okay. That Jar Jar Binks is stupid, but whatever, right? But then they get to 4 through 6, and they're like, oh my god, it's freaking Star Wars. But if you go the other way, you're just gonna let them down.
I would do 4 through 6 first.
Yeah,
No,
so you'd bring them up and then slam them down.
Well, no, because otherwise their impression of Star Wars as the first 3 movies is like you're just building upon what shouldn't be Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's multiple views. I don't think we need to
You
have
alternate back and forth.
Well, no. It's like you wake a kid up in the morning and slap him in the face for 3 days. What do you think's going to happen on the 4th day? He's probably going to try and hide.
Well, on that note, what order would you
On 4
show
through
someone?
6, you give him a donut for breakfast.
You guys let us know. What order would you have a new person watch Star Wars in the comments below? While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can patronize us in a good way by checking out our Patreon account.
You can also check our articles out on Nerdarchy.com.
Until next time, stay nerdy.